इमेजिन करो कि अगर कोई इंसान ऐसा है जिसको 40 इयर्स का एक्सपीरियंस है और वो अगर आके आपको काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें समझाए, बताए, तो आपका नॉलेज जो है वो कितना नेक्स्ट लेवल पे जा सकता है। बट शर्त ये है कि आपको सारी बातें ध्यान से सुननी है, समझनी है। अगर सुनोगे नहीं, समझोगे नहीं और नोट्स नहीं बनाए तो नहीं सीख पाओगे। वेल, आज का जो पॉडकास्ट है ये कुछ ऐसा ही होने वाला है। एक ऐसे इंसान जिनका लगभग मार्केट में एक्सपीरियंस 42 ईयर्स का है, वो एक स्टॉक ब्रोकर है। उनका अपना खुद का चेम्बर है न्यूयॉर्क स्टॉक एक्सचेंज में, एंड ही ट्रेड्स फॉर हिज बिग क्लाइंट्स। एंड ऑल्सो जो उनके फ्रेंड हैं वो पिछले 30 ईयर्स से टेक्निकल एनालिसिस का यूज कर रहे हैं। वो मार्केट मेकर भी थे और दोनों ने मिलकर लगभग सेम टाइम पे ही अपनी ट्रेडिंग जर्नी स्टार्ट करी थी। ये पर्टिकुलर इंटरव्यू या ये पर्टिकुलर वीसी सेशन के साथ आप इतना कुछ सीखने वाले हो। एक छोटा सा आपको लिस्ट बताता हूँ कि आप एग्जैक्टली सीखने क्या क्या वाले हो। आपको समझ में आएगा जो आपके दिमाग में एक ऑपरेटर का रहता है कि ऑपरेटर 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 कैसे ऑपरेट करता है, कैसे चीजें होती हैं, वो आपको इस पूरे वीडियो कॉल सेशन में समझ में आएगा कि एग्जैक्टली जो आपको लगता है वो वैसा है नहीं। जैसी पिक्चर आपके सामने अभी तक पोर्ट्रे करी गई है, चीजें उससे बिल्कुल उलट है। नाउ वहां और इंडिया में थोड़ा डिफरेंस तो है, लेकिन चार्ट और प्राइस तो सेम रहता है ना, वो तो कहीं नहीं जाता है। कैसे आप एज अ रिटेलर मार्केट को अप्रोच कर सकते हो और कैसे आपको एक्चुअली बढ़ना है आगे, एंड हाउ यू हैव टू एक्चुअली मेक इन ट्रेडिंग। नाउ आई होप अभी तक आप गेस कर चुके होंगे कि किसने सारी चीजें शेयर करी हैं। अगर नहीं करी है तो मैं आपको बता देता हूं, उनका इंटरव्यू ये रहा।
Peter Tuchman is one of the most famous traders on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. He's known as the Einstein of Wall Street, and not just because of his looks.
The excitement, the adrenaline, we are the last human marketplace in the world.
So, बहुत सारी अमेजिंग बातें हुई है, बहुत कुछ आपको समझ में आएगा। एक छोटा सा बस कैच ये, पूरा जो कॉन्वर्सेशन है वो इंग्लिश में है, तो अगर आपको समझ में नहीं आता है तो कमेंट करना। मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि उनकी हर एक बात को हिंदी में आपको समझा पाऊं दूसरे किसी वीडियो में। बट इस वीडियो को कोशिश करना, भले ही स्लो करके समझो, लेकिन समझने की कोशिश जरूर करना। आपका ट्रेडिंग नॉलेज बहुत नेक्स्ट लेवल पे जाएगा। तो ज़्यादा इन्वेस्ट नहीं करते, सीधा चलते वीडियो पे, लेट्स गो।
Hey, buddy.
Hi, sir.
How are you?
All good, sir. All good. How are you?
I'm very well. Give me about 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Sure. Please, sir. Please take your time. Please take your time.
We can do it.
Okay. Let me see if I can clean the screen a little bit so I can have a better
Sure, sir.
picture. See, what a great picture here. Let me see if I can. There's a thing here. Oh, can you see me? Are you okay with that?
Yes. It's absolutely okay, sir. I can see you.
Okay. Let me make sure. I'd rather have a little better light
Yes.
because it's a sunny behind me, so I have to.
Yes, sir. Yes.
That's better. There you go. Okay, cool, great. What's your name?
My name is Harshit, sir.
How do you say it again?
It's Harshit.
How do you? Oh, Harshit. I can see that.
Yes.
Harshit. Okay,
Yes.
Harshit. How are you? Great to meet
All
you.
good,
Thank
sir.
you.
All good, sir. Thank you so much for joining in. I was really waiting and I was so excited to, see you and in person and ask a lot of questions and get a lot of wisdom from you. And I saw you back in 2017, and since then I had a dream that one day probably I'll get a chance to have a conversation with you and ask some insight about it. And today is the day. I'm so happy. I cannot tell you, how excited I am at the moment.
Well,
and thank you so much, sir.
I'm so glad that you persisted and you got a hold of me. It is my absolute pleasure to speak to you, and you have as much time as you need.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. So, sir, my name is Harshitpatel, and I am basically a trader in India. I trade in index primarily, and
Indian index or U.S.
Yes.
index?
Indian index, sir.
Okay.
I primarily trade in banking index. It's called Bank Nifty in India.
Okay.
Yes.
And we'll explain to me. So an index in India, like so in the U.S., when you have a banking index, it's all of the banks together like an ETF.
Yes.
Right. And
Yes.
then we have the S&P 500, right?
Yes.
The SPY.
Yes.
So in India, what is the components of the Indian banking index? Are they all the Indian banks together in one index? Is that how it works?
Sir, in Indian index, it's basically the top 12 Indian banks, and only top 12 banks are there. Not all banks are there. Just top 12
Okay.
banks are there. who are there in the Indian banking index. So,
Okay, great.
yeah, yes. So, so basically, I just started my this Instagram journey and social journey back in 2023, and I have the audience who are primary retailers, and they are the newcomers basically. So I make a content in a very simple term so that they can understand the markets, because it's very technical, and I try to bring it down into very simple language. And within just 1 year, by God's grace, I just went from 200 followers to 1.5 million followers, and it was like
No
crazy.
way. Oh my
Yes,
God.
sir. Yes, sir.
Wow.
And
That's unbelievable. So I'm honored. I that will be very exciting for me. You know, sorry to interrupt you, but I've had so I have a large following in India. I know that
yes,
for many years already, and the frustration has been, you know. So I have an academy where we teach technical analysis and things
great,
like
sir.
with my partner David Green. One of the frustrations with speaking with people in India is that you don't have real access to trade U.S. markets, right?
Yes,
And so and also I know that money, you know, the way the rupee is rupee, right?
yes,
So
yes.
I know that the rupee and the dollar exchange rate is crazy, right? Is
It's
1,000.
crazy.
Right, and you have crazy inflation, and the price of it changes. I was aware of that. I've spoken to people in India before, and very frustrated because they wanted to take my course, but they did
Yes,
not know how to
yes,
transmit what we
yes.
teach to the Indian market. But it sounds like if you're trading indexes, are you using technical analysis?
I am, sir. I am. My whole base is onto technical analysis only.
And where did you learn it?
It's all primarily from the internet, gathering information from here and there. And I've watched a lot of videos of your also and
Oh,
other people, and just doing research, back testing it a lot of times, and then reading what previous, famous traders used to do, and then somehow put the pieces together and then figure it out. Okay, now this is working for me, and now I've got my edge, and now this thing is going on.
okay. My question is, of the 1.5 million followers, so your content is it technical? Do you actually teach technical analysis, or are you just giving education about the markets?
So I primarily make videos on technical analysis, the basics of that, like how candlestick works, how price action works, and what are the support zones, what are the demand zones, and all kind of these things.
Okay.
What is the break of structure, when the market's breaking structure, and all these kind of things. And I
And
try,
you,
yes,
go ahead.
and I basically try to keep things as simple as possible, and I try to make the people understand the probability terms also of the market, that if you follow one strategy, then how probability gets into your favor, and then you can actually make it, rather than just blaming on the market and just messing it around.
I
So
understand.
the biggest issue with the people here is people are very inconsistent. In starting, they have that enthusiasm that, okay, I want to learn markets, I want to make money. And within just 1 month, even though if they have, let's say, they got one bad week, that the whole enthusiasm just goes down, and they just go like, now I think I'm not going to be a trader ever again, and I think I have to quit. So the moral goes down really, really fast.
Okay, well, look, maybe something that I will say will help them, because that's obviously a problem that everybody has, and
Yes.
I think it's a function of how you teach them, right? You know, people are very bent on the fact that this is about getting rich quickly, and that they need to be made very clear that's not what it's about. It's a long process. It
True,
takes
sir.
it takes 3 to 6 months minimum to learn how to do this correctly. And, you know, obviously for us, we try and get people to do simulated trading first on paper but not too long, 2 weeks max. We don't want them to spend too much, maybe a month, you know, but don't spend, because you don't really get the sense of what it is like to lose and to win when you're
Yes.
trading in a simulated fashion.
Correct.
You will only know what that feeling is like when you actually have skin in the game. And so while it's important to learn the dynamic of the keyboard and technicals on paper, but if you spend too much time on it, you know, it's like unless you're sitting in a car, driving the car in traffic, you don't really learn how to drive, right? You can play, you know,
Correct.
it's not a video game. Driving is not a
Correct.
video game.
Correct.
So
Correct.
trading is a video game. So, But interesting that, so have you heard of, are Indian traders allowed to trade in US markets?
Yes, they are allowed. They are allowed, sir. They are allowed. They can.
Okay, they are. Okay. So there is a new thing in the market now called futures funded trading. You've heard of it?
Yes, I've heard. I've heard.
Okay, so it exists around the world right now. I don't think it's probably in India, but it is in Eastern Europe, in America, where they set up. It's the company that we partnered with is called Top Step.
Okay.
Top Step is a futures funded trading platform. What does that mean? That means that you open an account. I will explain it to you afterwards. If you go on my Instagram,
Yes.
if inside the link tree, you will see it will say Top Step,
Okay.
and you go in there, and for $50,
Okay.
you can open up. $50 is the most reasonable anywhere in
Most
the world.
reasonable. Absolutely.
Right. So for $50, you open up an account. They give you 50,000 simulated dollars, US dollars, and they give you the access to trade strictly futures.
Great.
So do you know the US futures market? Like you have what's called so you have the ES&Q. These are the NASDAQ futures and the E-mini futures on the S&P 500.
Yes.
So
yes.
you have, so $50 buys you in for $50,000. You have to be qualified. So to be qualified in 7 trading days, you have to make $3,000 simulated.
Okay.
And if you make that, you become qualified. Then they give you, they fill your bank account again with $50,000 so that you start with 50. And then as you trade simulated, you
Yes.
can actually be paid to trade in all completely simulated. So
That's
people are they pay you 70% of what you make as trading in the simulated marketplace. So it's one of the most for us. So in America, to be a trader, you have to have $25,000. Because if you don't, you have these called pattern day trading rules,
Yes.
right? Which means that you can only trade 3 times a week, and you can't trade intraday, right? So they're unless if you have $25,000, you can do whatever you want. You can trade 10 a day, you can do whatever you want. If you don't have that, then it's very limited what you can do. You can open up an account and trade options. You can trade this and that. So this new platform where you can trade strictly futures with simulated money for $50 gives access to so many people who would never ever have the chance to trade, and you can actually get paid $50,000 a month, real money. I mean, the trading is simulated, the money is real, and so that may be something that we should open up to your followers.
Yes.
Because everybody can come up. If you can't come up with $50, then you should be doing a different business. But
Absolutely.
Right? But for $50 to be able to start, if you really want. So you described that the immediate satisfaction. If your followers don't get immediate satisfaction, they leave. They go off to do something else. This platform offers the accessibility for immediate gratification. If you put in the work, you can get the money, and literally within 3 weeks, you can be paid big money. If you put in the work, you make $50,000. My partner in my academy, David Green, we now teach almost 70. We've transitioned from equities to futures because it is so accessible using this new platform. And he trades this platform, Top Step. Last month he does not trade big, right? Because he's teaching. He trades small bits, and they paid him $70,000 last month.
That's amazing.
So that's to make crazy money, right? So for anybody. So that's something we should talk about because it's an amazing opportunity. Anyway, let's start. Go ahead, start the interview.
Sure, sure. So, sir, I have a few questions. Few are there for the editor side, and few are there. I want to understand how do you think, and it's gonna mix with both of them. So, my first question is, since you have more experience than my age, so how do you look to the markets at the moment? What kind of thought process goes into your head when you are planning a trade, or you are, just trying to understand the markets?
Okay. So what I do for my job, for my career, right?
Yes.
It's different than what I do when I teach. So so it's a completely different thing. I do not use technical analysis for when I trade for my customers.
Okay.
All right. So being a broker on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange gives you access to certain bits of information.
Yes.
And many, many years ago, I developed a trading strategy around the information that brokers on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange get,
Okay.
right? Which order flow for the opening market and the close of the market.
Okay.
It's called market on close. It is the volume that imagine, for example, you're a hedge fund and you have 1 million shares of IBM to buy.
Yes.
And in the market that goes up and down like we see these days, right? Can be down 300,
Correct.
up
Correct.
300, very volatile.
Very volatile.
So-
Very volatile.
Okay. So the way that somebody would handle this new market would be you would buy a couple 100,000 shares on the opening. Then you would put 400,000 shares in an algorithm from, let's say, 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And then you would put 400,000 shares for the close, market on close, so that you could go back to your customer and he would ask you, what did you do for me?
Yeah.
And all the customers have an option to just use the machine. They don't
Yes.
need a human being. So I need to give the customer a reason to use me as a human being as
Yes.
opposed to,
Yes.
I will tell him that I was able to get him involved. The prices that he was able to get was
Yes.
over the day, the best price possible. I got him involved on the opening. He was involved during the day, and he was also involved on the close of the market.
Yes.
This information I have access to. So everybody, the big hedge fund, big institutions, right?
Yes. Yes.
They execute their order flow in a similar fashion to this. So all of the people who want to be, so one of the other things, a lot of the large players like to embed their volume, their bigger orders, where there is more volume, like on the open. So the largest volume is on the open and on the close of the market.
Yes.
You see that? I'm sure. It's the same
Yes,
in
yes.
India. That's
Absolutely.
that's where the volume is. So all the orders that everybody has for the closing bell auction, I get to see it at 2 o'clock. Okay.
Oh.
So I built a strategy. So that's what they offer. That is the benefit of being a broker on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. So I'm able to see that order flow for the closing bell. So I built a strategy many, many years ago around that information. It's not inside information. It's just information.
Yes.
And it's a matter of what do you do with that? So we built it, and I work. My son is my partner, and we have a wonderful team on the floor, and we trade that information. So at 2 o'clock, we are given access to the order flow for the closing bell, and every 5 seconds from 2 o'clock until 3:50, this order flow changes. It's updated, so
Okay.
it's always changing. Okay, so for me, as a career, as a broker on the floor, my trading is based on this information. Unfortunately, not information I can disseminate to you or to anybody, even in America.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right? So that's what I do for my work. But in answer to your question, for if I was responding to day traders, which we do in the academy, right? So there's a number of things. Trading this market over the last number of years has been, while it's crazy and volatile, it's incredibly exciting because day trading thrive on volatility, right? That's it. Price. However, they need to be very strict about the only reason to get into a trade is price action and technical analysis. You need the charts to tell you when to buy and sell stock. So my partner and I, when COVID came along, right, everything changed, right? You have Robinhood and Webull and all of these free trading apps. Suddenly, the accessibility to the market became open. All the doors were open. Anybody with an iPhone and $100 can trade the market.
Yes.
Before COVID, this was not the case, right? You needed to be a certified, a qualified bro. What's the word? I can't remember the word. So I don't know, certified or qualified person in order to, or invest, right, to trade the market. But once COVID came along and they have these free trading apps, anybody can trade the market. So they made the market incredibly accessible. What they did not do was they did not, none of these platforms, and there are many of them, I don't know, you have them probably in India, I'm sure too, where have an educational component to them.
Yes.
They invited you to the party, but they didn't tell you the rules of the party, right? So people came in like your followers. They think it's about getting rich quick. They think that you throw the dart at the wall and you hope the stock goes up, right? Hope is not a strategy for trading, right? FOMO, fear of missing out, is not a strategy.
Absolutely.
Listening to the internet is not a strategy. There are these signal services who tell you when to buy and sell. This is a scam, right? So this is not a real legitimate trading strategy. In my opinion, in this new market that we are living in post-COVID, with all these 40 million, you realize that India, by 2025, it's already 2025, there will be 1 billion day traders in India. Okay, the largest day trading community in the world, right, is in India. You have 1.5 million. You still have a lot of work to do.
So lot of work.
But it's your community. It's amazing. You have an opportunity. So you're making trading good.
Yes. So as of now, it's like 30% of the amount which I'm getting is from the classes and all I take, and around 70% I get from the swing trades, and sometimes I do scalp in options. So this is how the balance is going on.
Okay, and the Indian stock market has options as well?
Yes, it has.
Wow, you have
widely,
everything. Your market.
Yes, sir.
It
is options. Options are widely famous in India, and the regulators here are trying to cut it down because the involvement of the retailers has gone so much that the regulators have thought that if they will not put some restrictions, then most of the people are going to lose money here. So now we are getting into the restrictions part slowly, so that the retailers, basically in last 6 months, we have seen 30% drop in volume in options. So because of some regulations.
Because people are losing money, or because of
people are losing money? People are
gotcha.
losing money. Yes.
Okay. So what I find in this market, that is why my partner and I built our trading academy, is that in the new market post-COVID, that technical analysis is the only reason, the only strategy, in my opinion, to trade this market, right? Fundamental analysis is out the door in this new world, where because if you watch the market, you have companies that come out with really strong earnings, very good guidance. Stock goes down $50, right? So there's so many different players in the game. So in answer to your question, if anybody is interested in learning to trade this market, technical analysis is key. Now, what kind of technicals do we use? So my partner was he started on Wall Street with me, is David Green, started in the same year as me in 1985. And he went from being a squad, he was a runner. He was the lowest, in the stock market. We have you have a caste system in India. So it's like a caste. Everybody starts at the bottom and they work their way to the top. There's no training to become a broker. You have to start at the bottom, and as you develop relationships with people and you learn how to trade and you get confidence and people have confidence in you, then you go from being a runner to be a clerk, and then you go from a retail clerk to an option clerk to institutional clerk, and your goal is, after many years, 15 years, to become a broker, right? That's the goal. That historically is the goal on Wall Street. So Mr. Green started with me. I started as a teletypist. I was sitting at a computer entering orders that were already computed into a machine, and that was my start. Then I had a summer job in 1985. That was my beginning, and I loved it so much on the floor. I loved the energy. I loved the people. Back then it was all open outcry, no technology, right? It was just thousands. We had 7,000 people on the floor screaming and yelling like you see in the movies.
Yes,
right?
yes,
Like
I've seen that scene. People are yelling, shouting. It's a lot of chaos, lot of shout, lot of pressure at the moment, and it was crazy.
And there were thousands of people here. Everything was done with a pad and paper. The floors were full of paper by 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. There were different rungs to go up to get to where you really wanted to go, which was to have a seat.
For me, that was the most exciting thing. I used to love that. And I resisted the technology very much because I loved that human interaction.
Yes.
So my partner started also as a clerk, as a squad, a runner, and he became a market maker. So he did very well. I was able to get a seat on the stock exchange. That is what everybody's goal is. A seat gives you the right to trade. It's not somewhere where you can sit down. It's actually, I don't have my badge here. I don't think so. So a seat on the stock exchange gives you the right. It's like a license to be.
I have seen you, sir. I have seen your floor. I have seen your desk already. I'll put the clips also for the people. You need no need to show any badge. You are a badge in yourself. So it's all.
Does the market excite me when it goes up or down? Yes. Am I a boisterous, loud, obnoxious guy? Absolutely. Do I have wild and crazy hair? Yes. Do I look like Einstein? Absolutely. Am I half as smart as him? By no means. I get really excited about things that are upbeat and downbeat. I get upset about things. I'm an emotional guy. For me, it's super fun. I mean, I love seeing my picture everywhere. Are there pictures that have been out there that I am embarrassed about? Not particularly. I don't get embarrassed easily. I mean, look at me. How can I get embarrassed? So the way I dress, I also am a superstitious guy. I'm trying to get a sense of where the market's been trading overnight. Market trades overnight due to headlines, news, any number of things. New York, this room, the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, even though we don't do the volume we once did, is the most significant place that impacts markets all over the world. There was really very few outlets to get yourself onto the floor. You knew a friend and you came down and you started at the bottom and went to the top. This room is where I worked actually, and there were thousands of people here. Everything was done with a pad and paper. The floors were full of paper by 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. There were different rungs to go up to get to where you really wanted to go, which was to have a seat. That was your goal. It was an exclusive club. It was a real honor to become a member of the stock exchange. The whole key to this game is communication. There's a lot less of it going on now that we use these computers. I can hide in the corner, send my order flow out, and nobody needs to know what I'm doing. But I tend to be one who likes to interact with another human being. But I've been here through the crash of '87, 9/11, Trump, Brexit, North Korea. I've been here through the financial crisis of 08, 09. So every day here is stressful. Every day is super exciting. To still be a broker on the floor, it's taken a lot of reinventing of myself over the years because the business has changed. I really honor the fact that I've had to rebrand myself and make myself like famous and the most noticed broker in the world.
It's nothing is required. Your face is enough.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So you know what I do. So anyway, so Mr. Green ended up, he was a market maker. So a market maker, so you know there are brokers and there are market makers. A market maker, I'm sure you have market makers in India. A market maker, right, all the orders come into the market maker. He has both sides in his hand and he matches up the buyers and sellers.
Yes.
His job is to create a smooth and active market. So what he may do is he may inject liquidity into the market. So as a market maker, he is allowed to, if there are 3 sellers and 2 buyers, he is allowed to buy stock to consummate a trade. If there are 3 buyers and 2 sellers, he may sell stock to consummate a trade. He's flying the plane. So just imagine it's just like you take off on a plane and there's automatic pilot and you run some turbulence on the plane, the pilot takes it off automatic pilot and he flies the plane. The market maker is the pilot of the plane.
Okay.
That is Wall Street, right? He is there to organize the buyers and sellers. He's there to inject liquidity. He's there to create a smooth and active market and to facilitate movement of stocks going up. The way the market moves and the way people make money is when stocks trade. 1,000 shares, 1,000,000 shares, whatever it may be. But that's what we try and do. So I am a broker. I get order flow from customers. I go up to the market maker. I ask him, how is it? What is the market? He will tell me that we have 2 buyers who can pay $100. We have 3 buyers who can pay $99. We have 2 sellers at 101, 2 sellers at 102. And we start a negotiation. That's the nature of market making and trading, right?
Okay.
And eventually we will all come up to an agreement that we trade 100,000 shares trade at $100, right? We buy, I buy, he buys, this guy sells, market maker sells, and then we go on to the next trade. That's kind of the nature of the way things work.
Got it.
So Mr. Green, my partner, ended up becoming a market maker in some of the biggest stocks in the world. He was the market maker in Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, some of the big ones. He was part of so at one point in 1999, there was a big takeover. Goldman Sachs, you know who Goldman Sachs is?
Yes.
Okay? The largest brokerage firm in the world. Goldman Sachs bought one of the largest market making companies. It was called Spear Leads. They bought it for $4 billion. And it, in fact, turned out to be one of the worst trades ever on Wall Street because 4 years later, it sold for $200 million. So it was a bad trade. They overpaid for it. But anyway, so Mr. Green was able to retire at the age of 38 years old. After this takeover, he got a whole bunch of money, and he went on to become teacher of the market. So he's been teaching the market for the last 30 years. And I've been trading on the market. So I was never a market maker. I've always been a broker.
Yes.
And I've been on the floor now almost 40 years. And so when COVID came along, he and I saw that there were suddenly 40 million new traders in the market because of, look, when COVID came along, we had Robinhood and Webull. Everybody was sheltered at place and at home. Everybody's eyes were on the market. Right,
Yes.
You had all these meme stocks and GameStop and all that stuff.
Yes.
And everybody had a couple of dollars and a couple of rupees in the bank, and so everybody was trading. So you suddenly had 50 million new traders in the market. That was the number that came along. New retail traders came along during COVID, right? 50 million new traders. So David and I talked about it, and we realized that's an amazing opportunity because these people are all trading. The problem is they have no idea what they're doing. So we saw the opportunity. There's no educational component to Robinhood. None of these people teach anything. They invited you to the party, and it's a free for all. And like your people, most of them lost money.
Yes.
Most of them bought the stock at 5. It went to 30. Everybody told them it was going to the moon. They never sold it. It went back to 20, and they all lost money, right?
Yes.
I would say 90% of them lost money. You don't know the rules. 90% of day traders will lose money.
Correct.
So we saw an opportunity. Hold on. We saw an opportunity to teach them technical analysis. The technical analysis he uses, and he's tried everything, right?
Yes.
He didn't invent it. Everybody has many different ways of indicators of ways of using technicals. It's the art of charting, right?
Yes.
So there are
Absolutely.
really, go on any of these platforms. There's 100 different indicators that you can put in your chart, right? And your chart looks like looks like air traffic control and a 9/11.
Yes, exactly.
It's full of a bunch of lines, a bunch of candlesticks, and it's completely confusing, and it's not very helpful at all. So over the years, he developed a strategy using the most simple methods, which I'll lay out to you. So basically, what we use only a few indicators.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So he uses the EMA. exponential moving averages,
Yes.
right? There are a bunch of different moving averages. The EMA is a little more of a conservative moving average than I think there's a different moving averages in the market. So we choose the EMA. The EMAs that he chooses are the 9, the 15, the 30, the 65, and the 200. The wider the range of the moving average, the more significant the trade is. The 200-day moving average is the most significant. So basically, technical analysis works on support and resistance, right? That's the nature of technical analysis. So when a stock chart hits, a price of a stock hits the 200-day moving average, depending on how quickly it hits it, right, will affect on how significant the reversal of the market is. Okay? So we always call the 200-day moving average is the wall of China. That is the most significant, substantial moving average to use. If right in the absence of technical analysis showing up at the 9, the 15, the 6, when it hits the 200, that is a significant. So about 80% of the time, when a market on the upside or the downside hits the 200-day moving average, then you're going to see the reversal of the market and a reasonable trade. So those are the reason he uses those. Many people use the 45 and the 64. You know, everybody has their own method. The reason he uses what he uses is because it works. He's been been doing this for 30 plus years, so that's what he likes. Besides that, we use the RSI, right? Some people use MACD, some people use Fibonacci. There's any number of them. RSI is relative strength index. It signifies overbought and oversold conditions. Okay. And then we use what's called pivot points. So if you use, so for charts, right, we Think or Swim. Think or Swim is the charting service that is from TD Ameritrade and Charlie Schwab, right? And I'm sure you have access to it if you choose. And I think it's a very cheap. It's everybody can get it. It's a very small fee. The charting service for some are free. If you open an account with $50, then I think charting is free. So we use the EMA moving averages. We used RSI, and these are all just these are mathematical calculations. That if you go into the charting service, any of the people on in your group can open up a charting account, and then you enter these things into your charts, right? You enter the moving averages as you choose. You can use the 5, the 20, whatever. We tend to use the 15, the 30, the 9, the 15, the 30,
15, 30, 65, 200.
And then we use RSI. The RSI, we tend to use the most significant number is in the RSI is if it's 20, or we use 20 and 80 as ours, right? Some people use 30 and 70. But for us,
amazing.
20 and 80 are the most significant numbers. They're a little bit conservative, but when it hits the 20 or it hits the 80, then it's either oversold or overbought conditions. So we err on the side of conservative because the market is so volatile. Okay. Now the third instrument, the third index that we the third instrument that we use, indicator that we use. Thank you. Called pivot points. Pivot points are just a mathematical calculation. Nobody needs to know what they are, but if you download any charting service, you'll be able to look on all the different. They give you 1,000 options of what you want to put in your chart. We use pivot points. It's no need to understand what it is. In the absence of other support and resistance, pivot points can be used as technical analysis. They can be used the same as moving average. Okay, so that's all we use. We keep it very simple. There's no reason. There's no reason chart. And this is so David Green, who is my partner in Wall Street Global Trading Academy, has built this strategy. And the reason he uses it is because it works. And this is his own proprietary trading strategy. And we've been in business for 5 years. And so every Thursday night at 5 o'clock, all the students come together and we talk about the trades of the week, the failures, the successes, and everybody is taught they have to journal all of their trades, right? Why they got into the stock, where they took their exit, where they put their stop order. And that's the most important learning tool of all.
Yes.
And so we record these Zoom coaching sessions every Thursday night. And then we put it in the archive of the course. So
Amazing.
for 5 years, we've taught, over 5 years, we've taught 25,000 students. And so
That's
all of
amazing.
the Q&A sessions are in the archives for every new student. Successful trader is disciplined. He follows the rules, right?
Yes.
And so for us, if somebody is a new trader, that's the best student because they have not developed bad habits already.
Yes.
Right. And so they don't use somebody who is already trading is the worst student for us because they cannot let go of their old bad habits. So they use some of our stuff and they use some of their stuff.
Yes.
The difference between a successful trader and an unsuccessful trader is a successful trader is willing to accept the blame when they make a mistake.
Yes.
Right? That's the key. You need to realize we're going, look, we don't win on every trade, right?
Absolutely.
All we do, we win 51% of the time. That's all you need to do. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But what's important is if you follow the rules, you're never going to lose a lot of money, right?
Yes.
So we are scalpers. You described the word, it's a scalper. It's a matter of, am I willing to risk $50 to make $100? I do that all day long. But I'm not willing to risk $100 to make $50.
$50. Absolutely.
Because then if I have one losing trade, I need 2 winners to break even, right?
Correct.
So in the US markets, do you have in Indian markets stop orders?
Yes, we do have.
Okay. So every order has to have a stop order, right?
Yes.
And I know that retail traders have this conception in their mind that they don't want to use a stop order because the market maker the market maker sees their stop order and he screws them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let me just tell your community
Please. Yeah.
that is the biggest misconception in all of trading. That market maker, I work with market makers every day, and I've gone back to them day after day. I bring guests on the floor of the stock exchange who are retail traders, and I make them confront the market maker, and they ask the question. We understand you guys see our stop orders and you take the stock down there, then you take us out and you run the stock up. And they will impress upon these poor young traders. First of all, in the old days, they could do that, but they didn't. Now it's not even possible. They do not even have access visually to retail stop orders. So I beg for your whole community to understand that, see, what happens is when somebody refuses to accept unsuccessful traders who don't use stop orders love to blame somebody for losing money. And so who do they blame? Market maker.
Market makers.
Right? They don't take responsibility for themselves. So I beg everybody, if everybody wants to follow my David Green's standard of practice, for every order you enter, you must have a stop, not a mental stop. You never move your stop. You have to have a stop order. The stop order should be about 1% of the price of the stock. So for example, if I buy 100 shares of XYZ at $50, I have a stop order at 49.5. Okay. If the stock goes down to 49.5, I get stopped out. I lost 50 cents. It's not the end of the world. And I move on to the next trade.
Yes.
Okay. People need to also understand that they need to start taking money off the table immediately. There's no point in buying something at 50. It goes to 52. I don't take a profit. And then I watch it go to 48. Right. And then more. And I average into the stock. These are the mistakes that unsuccessful traders make. I will give your community the five secrets of successful day trading.
Please.
Number one, you have to have a plan when you get into a trade. Why am I buying this trade? Correct. Only 2 reasons to buy a stock. It's because the price action and the technical analysis tell me to buy it. Not Correct. Because Herbie on the internet told me to buy it. Not because the SIG service told me to buy it. Not because I hope that it's going to go up, not because I'm afraid to miss out on a trade that somebody told me is going. These are no good reasons.
Correct.
Only reason is because the chart tells me to buy it. The second thing is they should have a target amount of money that they want to make in a day. If I'm trading 100 shares of stock, my goal should be $100. If I trade 500 shares of stock, my goal should be $500 a day.
Yes.
When I hit my goal, I turn the machine off and I go to town and I buy myself a shawarma, whatever you want to do. You turn the machine off, right?
Correct.
You never overtrade, right?
Correct.
If you hit your goal, that's the best it's going to get in the day. You need
Correct.
to turn the machine off. So everyone needs to know when to stop trading when they're making money and know when to stop trading when they're losing money. Okay.
Correct.
So rule number one, have a plan. Why
Yes.
am I buying the stock? Number two is have a target, a goal amount of money you want to make in your day. When you get your goal, turn the machine off and go to the beach, go hang out with your family.
Perfect.
Number three is have a stop order on every trade you do, without question. I mean, or otherwise you're just going to lose. You're going to blow up your trading account. Stop
Absolutely.
order. 4 is what we call never turn a winning trade into a losing trade. What do I mean by that? That means if I buy 100 shares at 50 and it doesn't, and I have a stop order at 49.5 and it goes to 50.5,
Yes.
I sell half of my position. I just made 50 cents.
Yes.
I moved a stop order from 49.5 to 50. So I guaranteed break even. So now
Yes.
I just made 50 cents and I guaranteed myself break even. I cannot lose money on the trade. The confidence as a new trader that I just made 50 cents and I can't lose money is one of the greatest tools of successful trading. Okay?
True. Absolutely.
That is the key. That's the key to the business. Then if stock goes to 51, I sell 25% more of my shares and I move my stop up order to lock in a 50-cent profit. So I move the stop to 50.5. So I just made $1 on 25% and I guarantee myself lock-in profit of 50 cents. There's nothing better that feeling. And the more you develop that confidence around it, that you're making money, you're protecting your downside risk, right? And you cannot, and not losing money is the greatest tool in the world.
True,
So you
true.
need, so that's the key. So you cannot turn a winning day into a losing day. There's no point in selling and buying stock and watching it go up and then not making a sale. Nobody got broke taking a profit. That is the key.
Correct.
That is one
Correct.
key
Correct.
thing. Okay.
Correct.
Rule number four is if I'm having a bad day and I have 3 max loss trades. I'm in a trade, I lose 50 cents. I'm in a trade, I lose 50 cents. I'm in a trade, I lose 3 losing trades. I turn the machine off, I go home. Okay? Okay? That's the most, so I'm saying you need to know when to stop when you're making money. You need to know when to stop when you're losing money. Because the other person, the person who does not, what are they going to do? They're going to revenge trade.
Yes.
I got to get my money back. So they're going to start more and more and more. They're going to become irresponsible. They're going to make mistakes and they're going to turn a $500 loss into a $3,000 loss.
Yes. Yes.
You'll come back. If you're having a bad day, you'll come back from a bad day. You'll come back from a bad week, but you will not back from an $8,000 loss, right? That makes no sense. So that is the key. Know when to stop when you're losing money. Okay?
Amazing.
And then never turn a winning day into a losing day. So what does that mean? If I'm in a trade and I'm making money and I can't turn the machine, I think I'm doing great. I have diamonds, I'm having a great day, and I just can't turn the machine off. And I have to keep trading. It's called the 20% rule. You make a deal with yourself that if I keep trading and I give back 20% of my profit, then I have to turn the machine off. There's no reason to have there's no worse feeling than to be up $1,200 at noon and then go home down $3,000 at the end of the day because I didn't know when to stop when I was up, right? So you never turn a winning day into a losing day. And those are the 6 rules. It couldn't be any simpler, right? I'll tell you the example of the opposite. Somebody who doesn't listen and doesn't have the discipline. They get to a stock because they hope so that it's going up. They don't use a stop order, right? They buy it at 50, it goes to 52, they don't sell it, and they goes to 49, to 48, 47, right? They get into a trade, they're up $1,000, they think they have diamond hands, they have to keep trading. Next thing you know, they're down $3,000. That's an unsuccessful trader. So I gave you the 2 scenarios of somebody who does this and makes money, somebody who does this and loses money. That's the scenario. It doesn't get easier than that.
And I'll tell you, it truly defines why you're called Einsteins of Wall Street. In India, they don't know they don't know you by this phrase, but now after this video, everybody's going to know that okay, we have Einstein of Wall Street with us, and that was really. I'll tell you, all the 6 rules are of my golden rules. It's whenever I teach also, I always tell them that these are the golden rules. If you can't follow, I don't think that you'll be able to ever make it. So that's really very well defined.
They're not my rules. They're my partner David's rules. I'm here to motivate you and inspire you to be a good trader. Yes. David Green, master teacher in the space.
Yes.
Right. But those systems, those things that he taught, and those rules are his. Those are the 6 commandments.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
The last thing I will tell you, there's only one way to blow up a trading account. 2 ways. Only 2 ways. This is the last commandment, number 7. There's only 2 ways to blow up a trading account.
Yes.
Not have a stop order and to average into a trade. Now, what does that mean, to average into a trade? If I buy 100 shares at $50 and I don't use a stop order and it goes to 49 and it goes to 48, what is my first impulse? I have to buy more. So I buy more at 40. I buy more at 48. It keeps going down. 47, 46. I buy more. Yes. I'm averaging into the trade, hoping that my entry price will be better and better and better. It goes from 48, 50 down to 40. I keep buying more and more and more. By the time it gets to 40, I can't take the pain in. I'm down $5,000. I sell it. Inevitably, the stock goes straight back up because that's where I should have been buying it, and that's where I'm selling it. So those are the things. The only 2 ways is to really blow up an account, is to not have a stop order and to average into a trade.
Amazing. That was very well explained. That was very well explained. And I hope that Indian audience understand this thing, because what happens in India, let's say they see me, they see some other guy who have experience of 4 years, 5 years. Here we have 40 years of experience saying these words. So I'm pretty sure that everybody who is going to watch this, they should be understanding this, the main ideology of the day trading part. That was it. Thank you so much for giving this, your wisdom. And I'm sure the audience is going to enlighten and they'll understand the real value. And moreover, the gray here speaks a lot. Your name, your face, it speaks a lot. So I'm sure the Indian audience are going to understand the importance, all those 6 rules. They are going to follow that. And I hope they become a very good trader. And we see a very good response.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. We'll be in touch.
Absolutely. Always, sir. Always. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Be well, my friend. Bye.
थैंक यू सर बाय सर बाय
नाउ आई होप आपको सारी बातें बहुत अच्छे से समझ में आई होंगी। जो समझ में नहीं आई है तो कमेंट करना, तो फिर मैं ट्राई करूंगा दोबारा से वीडियो बनाने का। कहीं ना कहीं ऐसे लोगों से मिलने में, ऐसे लोगों से बात करने में आप लोग तो सीख ही रहे हो, साथ ही मैं भी बहुत कुछ सीख रहा हूँ। मेरा भी जो विश्वास है अपने ऊपर और पक्का होता जाता है धीरे धीरे, जब मैं वही सेम बातें जो मैं फॉलो करता हूँ सामने वाले को बोलते हुए सुनता हूँ, और वो भी ऐसे इंसान को जिसको मार्केट में करीबन 30-40 साल हो चुके हैं। मतलब ऑनेस्टली अगर 40 देखे तो मेरा 40 एज नहीं है इन रियलिटी, राइट? मैंने वीडियो में पूरी बात बोली है। तो यार दैट वाज इट। आई होप आपको समझ में आया होगा, अच्छा लगा होगा। कुछ जो नए लोग हैं उनके लिए इतनी नेक्स्ट लेवल चीज आने वाली है, थोड़ा सा वेट करो, थोड़ा सा पेशेंस रखो, समथिंग रियली बिग इज कमिंग। ऑल द बेस्ट।